Hello there, I'm here. I'm not sure how long this video will be. Hopefully it'll be a quick one. I'm going to be bouncing in and out with kids and stuff, so bear with me. But this video is going to be all about our fourth grade goodies, what I have planned for our days each day, and kind of what our day looks like. If that's interesting to you, stay tuned. Okay, so fourth grade, I have my kitty won't leave me alone this morning, so there's that. Yeah, fourth grade, believe it or not, we are here. If you're not familiar with my channel, or if you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Crystal. I am homeschooling my two fourth grade boys, as you can hear them in the background. Okay, sidetrack number one. Maybe we should do a little count up here, how many times it takes me to film this, but anyway, fourth grade. If you're not familiar with our channel, hi, my name is Crystal. Yeah. And yeah, fourth grade. So in the United States, fourth grade is your national park year. So every fourth grade student can receive a national park pass. So that is what our theme is based on this year. It is all things outside, wilderness, exploring, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like our overarching, I don't know. Yeah, it's like the theme, I guess you could say. So all of our readings have to do with wilderness and survival. We're doing American history right after America became a country. And then we've got, we're doing geography, just lots of different things. So without further ado, I should probably just jump into it. So this year I did go ahead and make the Boys and I planners. This is my planner. And then this is one of the boys' planners. And in it, I have various things, which if you're interested in a flip through video of my planner or the boys' planner, feel free to let me know below and I will do that as soon as I can. Okay. One of them was just being helpful and bringing me something that I could use in my video. So anyway, if you want to see inside of these, I could definitely do that on another video, just let me know. But in here I have, for myself, I have like an overview calendar for the whole year. Then I have individual monthly calendars, so I can use it kind of like a personal. So it's a really loose personal. I have a reading log section, which I haven't done anything for because I haven't been reading anything. We have our catechisms that we do each morning for in our memory time. I have usernames and passwords. I have our schedule, so I go over to help me make sure we get everything done. I have a schedule for the week that we don't do co-op, and then I have a schedule for the week that we do are involved with co-op, so that way I can, like I said, keep everything on track, even though we don't follow it strictly. It's just more so just so we can get everything done. And then I have year at a glances, where it's an overview for that term of what we're doing in all the subjects. So I have 8 of those for the 8 terms. And then I do have just like the actual week of my planner, and it is over 2 pages like this, so that I can mark things off as we complete them each day. Laundry just went off, so the boys just taking care of that for me. So you might hear that in the background, apologies. But yeah, so we have, and that's the second time, right? 2? Okay. So I have one of these for each term. So every week has a spread like that. And like I said, I can just mark it off as I'm done. I do like this because before I was having to plan it and then rewrite it. And this way I plan it on Google and then I can just print it and then it's all here. It's not set in stone. I can still move things around, but it is nice to have to reference. And then behind that, I have my grade book. Yes, I do keep grades. Is it necessary? No, but it has been fruitful for motivating my boys, and it's also, I think, it's been helpful for me to see if we're actually applying what we learn. And this year I've actually incorporated a lot of rubrics, so it's not been very hard at all. Okay, so that's kind of like my little planner. And then in the boys' planner, they have a lot of the similar things. They have the calendar. I have additional reading for them that if they choose to read, they can. I'll get into this more later, but we are doing AR reading tests somewhat. So these additional readings are all from Ambleside that we haven't read yet. We do loosely the Ambleside, like pedagogy or whatever you want to call it. I love it as a reference. And so we're doing that. And then they also have their own reading log that they write in books that they finish. And then, you know, how many stars they would give it. Their catechisms are in here as well. In the back, I have some math reference sheets from their math curriculum that I just pulled off the internet. And then each term has an overview. So it's like the term cover sheet, if you will. It has our, words are escaping me this morning, quotes that we use for copy work. And then it has our memory work, our scripture that we're memorizing. In the past, I've been horrible about this. So this year we are making it right there and we are doing it every day. And then each week, the spreads, let me show you one that's not filled out yet. So you don't have to see his stuff here, but here you go. So each page after that looks like this. And so when you open it up, the other side is just blank. And the idea is they can doodle on it, write notes, whatever they want to do. We haven't been using this a whole lot because we've been like going really quickly through all of our work, but the idea is that they will check things off each day as they get done. If we don't do them that day, I just color them out, color them in. I did forget to put spelling on here, so every week we write the spelling and draw some boxes. And then these are the books that we're reading up during this week, and then this is what they are, like what chapters they're reading. And this one's blank because they will fill that in themselves, which I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah. I have that all the way through the school year. So that is their planners. All right. So overview, if you got this far, you're doing great. Overview what we're doing this year. And actually I did pull out my planner, so that was the intention of pulling this planner out, was so that I could list everything and then try to quickly go through everything. Okay. All right. Here we go. We are doing Bible. We are doing like group reading or guided reading, as well as independent reading. We are doing writing. We have handwriting, typing, vocabulary, and a reintroduction for us into spelling. We have math. We have science. We have social studies. We have geography, and we are doing Latin for fine arts with the goal of eventually getting into piano and guitar is what has been requested. So that is on my to-do list of finding a resource here locally that we can do that with. We just moved here earlier this year, so I'm still kind of getting a lay of the land and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's it in an overview. Now, as far as what we're doing for each of those things, that's what we're going to head to next. So are you ready? Buckle up. It is a lot. Back again. Cat. Anyway, so let's deep dive into each individual area. First, we will start with Bible. We are using this wonderful resource, Wonderful, by Marty Makowski, I believe is how you say his last name. This will be something we do this whole semester. And this one goes through the Psalms. And so what you do each day is there is a little reading that you do alongside whichever psalm or group of psalms. She's already trying to get into other things. Stop, meow. You read through the psalm, and then he has like annotation that he's done about it. And then you have a journal type thing you can do with it. I'm hoping this lighting is not horrible, y'all. I apologize if it is. Which is serendipitous because I bought a journal to do alongside this with the boys just on my own. And then we read the first page. It was like, you should get a journal. And I was like, awesome. So glad that worked out. And this takes maybe 10 minutes of our morning, maybe 15, depending on, some mornings have more than one psalm that we go through. But yeah, we love this. We do this very first thing. We go into our catechisms as well as our memorization, and then prayer time before we start our day. So yeah, this is our Bible. In spring, we are going to be doing It's called, it's another book of his, but it's actually more of like a devotional. But it's called Wise Up. And I believe it's about Proverbs, if I'm remembering correctly. But it's still a different format each day. Like there's a overarching theme for each week, and then each day you have a reading. So that will be the spring. But for fall, this is our Bible. Any of his books are wonderful. We have done, I think, 3 now, and I've loved them all. So that is our Bible. Next, reading. Okay. Let me preface this by saying I know I do a lot, and I'm very aware because I live this life as well. But I do know that doing all these things has been a blessing to us, and that we've just gained so much, even just inside jokes and things from these books and things that we've read over the years. So I'm not sad about it, but it is a lot. So reading has 2 components. We have the guided reading that we do together, or like a group reading, and then we also have independent reading. The boys do mostly independently. So as far as our group reading, we are reading through Gary Paulson's works, his Hatchet series for the fall, and then we'll be doing his Mr. Tuckett series in the spring. So there you go, good old Hatchet. We just finished this the other day, and they have a reading binder. Let me see if I can. There you go. There's Liam's reading binder. I just made these in Canva, these covers, using the, I use AI more so for like planning things. Very rarely do I use it for like graphics of any kind. But this was really cute. I saw people who did it like making like caricatures of themselves. And so I did that on Canva for their thing, let them color it. But each book has their own little cover sheet, and it has a schedule so they know what is expected to be read each day. They can choose to check it off if they want to. Clearly he did not do that. Another cat has arrived, so if you get bumped, I'm so sorry. Like that right there. But I found this is not, I will say this is not my ideal way of doing this, but this is what I could find really quickly. And watch out now. Y'all are about to come head first. But I found a TPT, Teachers for Teachers, and it's just a lady. She put together these chapter reviews, and it's fine. We do a lot more. I'm not sure why it keeps getting dark. Well, that's too bright. Okay, hopefully that's better now. Anyway, they're just chapter questions, and we do a lot of discussion throughout the book too, and so it's more so just to see if they're able to do the skills of writing down what we talked about and are able to answer the questions for like comprehension's sake. So every week it's different how many they do. It's just whatever the chapters there are. So, you know, some chapter sections, there's only 4 questions I like. So I'll star those, and that's what they answer. Sometimes there's like 12 questions that I like. And as we've gotten more like practiced with our routine and stuff, I have been asking more of them. So eventually I think the goal will be to maybe not all of the questions, but do most of them. And typically there's about 6 to 8 questions per chapter. Most of these are comprehension based, but some of them are like write a stanza, or, you know, pretend you're a journalist and you're writing a newspaper article about Brian. And so it's those kind of things. And then whenever they're done, they will then write a book report about this book. So actually today they're working on those. So I don't have an example of this particular book report, but I will have one for the next thing I'm going to show you guys, which is their independent reading. So they have another folder. There you go. Independent folder. And in here, this is where they have their independent reading. So they have 2 independent readings. One is literature, and then one is about people in history. So the first one, they have, I chosen books that they're going to be reading. Typically, they read 2 books per term. Some books are longer than others, and so on those terms, whether it's a longer book, they'll do that one book the entire for 3 or 4 weeks. This is what we're doing for the first term, where the red fern grows, and then my side of the mountain. So in Liam's case, he has already done my side of the mountain. And the way that I have it broken up is it's just like the other with the calendar. It's exactly the same layout, same idea. They have their assigned reading each day. So what they do is they will read it and then they have to interact with the text. And let's see if I can find it easy for you guys to see. All right, let me get you a blank one. All right, so on the back of those, there is this bingo card and it tells them what they're supposed to do. So every day they are supposed to write a summary of what they read, pick 2 words that were unfamiliar to them or that were used in a different way that they'd never seen before. And then they have to write the direct quote as well as the definition of that word. And then they have to complete an activity from the bingo card with the attempts of creating a bingo, okay? And so that page, what that looks like in their journal will be like this. I whipped this out after a couple weeks of finding it hard to read. There you go. There's a date, the summary, just like this. And then I just go through each day after they read and I check it to make sure that, you know, they're doing it correctly, that they are comprehending. I do have a rubric. I literally put this information into, you know, an AI generator or whatever and just said, this is what I'm looking for. And then I asked it to create me a rubric. And then I just made sure that it made sense, changed any words I needed to change. And then, yeah, so we're good to go. And that's how I use that to grade. And then for their book report, once they finish reading their book, they do the book report. And again, this also has a rubric that I input information into AI and it helped me create the rubric. I don't feel so bad about that with rubrics because literally that's what rubrics are. Like you use the same terminology typically in each rubric. And so for me, this is much just quicker than me having to type it out myself. So it saved me a good bit of time and I am appreciative of that. But they make these, you may have seen these before, but they're envelopes. And so they draw the cover of their book or favorite scene is their choice. And then on line paper, they will write their report. And I do their grades on sticky notes on things that they produce like this because I don't want the grade to mess up their work that they work really hard on. But then they will, this is the book report and it follows that rubric. So and I just found a video on YouTube that went through how to write a book report and we watched it with the boys together and then created this rubric from that video basically. But the first paragraph is just introductory, telling me about the book, who wrote it, who are the characters, is it part of a series, where does it take place, like that kind of thing. Second paragraph is the summary of the story, what happened, like, you know, think of the conflict, how was the conflict resolved. And then the third paragraph is, do you recommend this book and why? And so they have to go into detail as to why they would recommend it or not. And then they turn it in. And that's one of their assignments that's graded as well. They do that for each book. So again, today they're working on their second one of those. But thankfully I have this example to show you. And then the AR points come to this. So when they do these book reports, they get AR points for doing them. Because basically it's like they're showing me that they understood the story by creating this project. So I'm giving them their AR points. And if you're unfamiliar with AR, it's a book quiz system that public schools use. They pay a lot of money for it. But each kid has their own account. They read books. They go online, find the book, and then they take a quiz on the book. And as they get older, the quizzes get harder and all that good stuff. But they earn points. And your points, the amount of points that you earn, they're determined by how lengthy the book is, how difficult it is to read, all those good things. And then it's assigned somehow to that book. And when you take your quiz, you earn those points. And so that's what we're doing with these. I just go on, you can go to arbookfind.com. You can find any book that has an AR quiz and see how many points it's worth. And then I just give the boys those points. I give them extra points for making a bingo because I make the rules and do what I want. And then if they also read additional books, then I will basically pick 5 comprehension questions to ask them. And if they get them correctly, then they get all the points. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And what we told them at the beginning, we weren't quite sure how the points were going to equate to prizes yet, but we talked about it some more, and I think what we're going to end up doing is every 10 points you earn, it's $1 that you can spend at our local bookstore. So that's what we're going to do, and I think we're going to go ahead and do it probably at the end of each semester. So like at Christmas time, I'll let them do that, verify that they don't, they're not getting those books for Christmas or whatever, and then in the spring we'll do it again. So that's the idea with that. The other independent reading that we're doing, welcome back to Meow, is we are doing Heroes of History. And there you go. If you're unfamiliar with these are books about famous people in history that have good character. So these are the ones the boys chose. Liam is doing Daniel Boone. Connor is doing Abraham Lincoln. And this, even though it's assigned to them to do, I am not nitpicky on how they do it, just what they do. So they get this book. It's a long book, and the font is not, it's not big. And their task is that they have to read this book, and then they have 5 things they have to do with the book by the end of our term. So once we finish this term, that book will be done, and then they'll pick a new person to do for our next term. But in their binder, there is a rubric, and as you can see on here, there are, maybe you can't see, but there's 5 areas, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're doing a fact sheet about the person, answering chapter questions. They have an end of the book project they have to do. They have to map historical events from their story, and then they have to create a timeline, which all those things sound like a lot, and again, they are. Man, she's like chewing on everything. It's like having a toddler again. I don't know what's going on with her. It is, but the idea is they do it throughout the term. So it's not like, oh, you have tomorrow to finish this. So, like, here you go. This is Connor's, Abraham Lincoln. And so the fact sheet looks like this, and they fill it out as they read. And then, and when you buy these books, if you purchase the online, sorry, I can't focus with her. If you also receive like the printables with it, it's all in the printables. But there's a printout of chapter questions, and so I just printed 2 to a page. And there's 4 questions for every chapter, and it goes into detail like which question 1 is always this, question 2 is always this. I just tell them they have to pick 2 questions from each chapter. And so they do that, and then they write what question number they chose, and then they write the answer out. So that's the chapter question portion. That other one was the fact sheet. And then there's also a section called Student Explorations. This one is where the project comes from, and there are a myriad of ideas that it gives them. It gives them ideas for a hands-on project, arts and crafts, could be like media, like with video or pictures. It could be creative writing. What is your deal, Kat? But they pick one of these, or they can come up with their own if they want to as well. Just some sort of project that goes along with their person. And then the social studies. Okay, so then they are given a bunch of places. Let me see, which ones did he do? So this one, he didn't have a whole lot of page of places, but it does give you in the social studies section, it gives you some locations. Like for Kentucky, he had 5, it looks like. Indiana, Illinois, like several places. And then I've also given them maps, which were also included with this. Cat, no, go. And then they have to map them themselves on the map. They're not perfect. They're hard to read, honestly hard to read. But the ultimate goal with this is them just to be familiar with maps and finding places on the map. Like by the end of the year, I want them to know where all 50 states are without question. Okay, but that's the goal, and I think this will help them with that. And then the final thing is a timeline, and the publishers give you this timeline with some things, and then they have to put them in on the timeline. So that is Heroes of History. That one takes up the whole term, and I do help them with it. we already having struggles with it because I told them like from the very beginning, like, you know, you have this many days, you should choose how you do it. You can read a chapter a day, you can do 3 a day. It's up to you, but don't plan on finishing your book on the last day of term because you still have all these projects you have to complete. And which I did a good job about that, but now we've had grumbles like, well, I don't know because I read this so long ago. I don't remember when this happened, or I don't know where this place is at. And I'm like, well, that's why we were talking at the beginning. You got to do this alongside. So they're learning. Like, these are just skills. We're learning skills. So it's going to be good. But yeah, that is all reading. Okay. What, 12 minutes in and we just talk about reading. I'll try to hurry. Writing. We are trying something new this year to me. We're doing essentials in writing. I've heard people either love this or they hate this. So far, we're enjoying it. I think it's good. It's been good reminders. The first part of the year is grammar, and I'm at grammar, so it's been good for me as well. But the set that I purchased came with a teacher's guide as well. Okay, so you have, it doesn't have a whole lot in there, but it does have the answers to all the things. And so if you have a question, you're unsure. The one thing it doesn't tell you, at least that I've seen, is how their grading works. So I'm kind of just making that up as I go. But other than that, but there's little videos that you watch. They're like maybe 5 minutes long. And then they do their assignment after that. So let's see. And they do it over a couple days. So for example, here is lesson 29, compound sentences. And so they'll watch the video, do this activity. The next day, a lot of times we'll rewatch the video because it's only, like I said, 5 minutes long. And then they'll do another activity. And like I said, they're nice and simple and sweet, but also helpful and very fruitful because already we've come up with like vocabulary or things are like, oh, you know, like predicate. Like we have a hard time remembering what predicate is. Like same. I mean, I'm in the same boat as them, but it's been good for all of us. That's all I'm trying to say. But we do typically a lesson a day. We do like a page a day. So like the lesson might be 2 or 3 days. We'll spread it over a couple days. They also do have a sequencing file in their goodies as well. And then there's also a test throughout the whole thing. So here you go. And this is the test booklet, and it's 1 or 2 pages, and it's just a review of whatever it is that you've been talking about. And a lot of it is the exact same activities you did in the lesson are in the test, which I think is a great test. So anyway, that is writing. From what I understand, in the spring, we will start doing like more like expository and persuasive and like actual like writing. But already it's been fruitful in our journal entries and things that we've been doing, and our book reports too. But more about journals in a minute. Okay, sorry, this floor is hurting my feet. I'm getting too old. Next chunk we have is handwriting, typing, vocabulary, and spelling. So handwriting. This is one of our last years it's kind of sad, but we're using this series again. I'm a big proponent of Danielian as opposed to ball and stick, like handwriting without tears. You do you, but I don't like it. So we do Danielian, and we are transitioning into cursive again. We learned cursive last year. We're going to be working on our cursive more finely this year, and then eventually we'll be doing just cursive for certain assignments. So that'll be fun. The boys are already not happy about that, but it's life. The other thing we do is, I'll do maybe 2 or 3 pages from here each week, and then they will also do copy work. I grabbed a folder. Here we go. They have these folders. This is where they keep all their loose things, including like tests we've done and stuff like that. But there's an example of copy work. Oh, my camera doesn't want to focus. There you go. But it's just the same sheet of paper. They will write it in their best handwriting one day, and then the next day we'll do it again. And not only is it helping their writing, but it's also helping them to memorize it. Other things in this folder, in case you're interested, it's all their tests. So any test they have, there's an individual plastic sleeve for each of them, and we just slide them in, and that way they're all in the same place. But there's one for science, social studies, all the things. And then they don't have one in here right now, but they'll normally will have in the pocket some drill sheets that we use for our Latin. So that's this guy, but this is what we do for handwriting. So these 2 right here. And Sorry, I'm trying to keep everything organized for them since they're so gracious. Let me borrow their stuff for this video. Typing, we're using typing.com. We used it last year. The boys are starting to finish it though, and so we're debating whether or not to buy the $20 pass for the year. We might go ahead and do it. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. They love typing.com. It's a really simple, easy system, and so it's good. Vocabulary, we are doing Wordly Wise again. And essentially the way Wordly Wise works, Wordly Wise works, is they have a list of words. And so each unit has a list of words. So like this one is advantage, astonish, confirm, distant, founder, hamlet, host, misgiving, parch, prospect, scare, shrewd, soul, torment, and typical. So 15 words, I believe. I think last year was 10. I don't remember. It's all a blur. But then there's 5 activities, and they're split up by like A, B, C, D, E. And they're like word meanings. They will do like phrases that mean the same thing. You have to figure out which word could go in this place in the sentence. There's suffixes, prefixes, like roots, that kind of stuff. And then the very last activity is always a story. And I love it. This one, again, fits perfectly with what we're learning about this year. And I was like, this is not intentional. I did not do any of this intentionally. It's been awesome. The first week, it was, let me see. This week it was Sequoia. So yeah. So week 1, it was Sequoia's gift. And then week 2, so last week was Sequoia National Park, like the national park. Oh, no, sorry. California's forest giants. So redwoods, sequoias, that kind of stuff. And then this one that I'm looking at for unit 9 is the 49ers, which we're also going to be talking about. So anyway, that's just my nerdy moment. But what we do with this is we mix it in with our typing. So on day 1, they will do activity, they'll read their words, do activity A and B. And then on day 2 and 3, one of them will do typing while the other one does their C and D. And then they'll swap on Wednesday. Thursday, they will do E. And then on Friday, we will do our test. And then they can do another thing of typing. But the tests are, that's a midterm test. Let me find an actual test here. All right. It's literally just fill in the bubble. It's Scantron type test. Again, I do these because I want them to have the skills, even if they never use, say the education changes so much that we never do a bubble again. Oh well, they can color in a bubble. I just want them to be familiar with how things are for whatever life may bring them. Because, you know, one day they're going to be working adults. Adults take quizzes to advance in their jobs, you know, depending on where you're working. So it's going to be fine. But that's what we do for Wordly Wise or for our vocabulary. And then for spelling, this is new to me in any way, shape, or form. This is by Memoria Press, but it's called Traditional Spelling. We're doing 4 because the boys are in 4th grade. I have a love-hate with this. The hate part is a very strong. It's not really hate. It's just, it does take time, and which is fine. I just like to move through things, and this has been great. The love part of it is that it is focusing on phonics, which my boys are great readers, but the reading mistakes that they make sometimes, I'm like, you should know that. And this has been kind of, again, pinpointing out those areas and then helping them to hone in on them. But this is also a 5-day setup, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm joking about the love-hate, but it's great. But each week, the words have an actual like theme to them, which is great, and explains what that rule is they're focusing on. Then you have your list of words. They are written in both print and cursive. And then on day 1, you just sort your words by their patterns. So, you know, is it like last week, all the words had the vowel sounds in them and they were all long. So with the macron. So like music or, I can't think of anything else right now. But it's that long sound. Now I'm gonna look it up. Basis, idle, nature. And so anyway, they sort them by those vowel sounds or whatever it is that they're focusing on. And then they do this say, spell, say activity. It's literally all they do. They say the word, spell it, and then say it. They do one column of that on Monday. And then Tuesday is our least, Tuesday is always the longest day. I'm not sure why, but it's colorful letters. That's what the activity is called. And there it is right there. And then they have a little activity here that's a little bit, it's different every time. It's normally like dictionary skills or like prefixes or suffixes, Latin roots, that kind of thing, to help them, again, see patterns. But on colorful letters, they write their words with a dot in between the syllables. And that's to help them to kind of see the patterns in their words. And then we go through a checklist. Write over vowels or vowel teams with red. Mark long vowels with the macron and short vowels with a breve. Write over consonant blends or teams with blue. Mark out silent E with a slash. And underline your prefixes and suffixes. This takes a while because we're still doing this together, because even though I have taught this, it's been many years, and the actual practice of doing this is something new to us. So I'll give you an idea of what it looks like when there's all said and done. That's our Tuesday. That's all they do on Tuesday is that. And then on Wednesday, they have a cute little riddles that they can answer. There you go. And then fill in the blank using their spelling words. And then they also will do a another column of that say, spell, say. And then day 4, we normally will just review the words, and they have dictation work for them to do. So you say a sentence and they have to write it. Or it could be a game you're going to play. It's basically just to review them before their test on Friday. And you do your last column of your say, spell, say. And then on Friday, you do the test. And the test is just a piece of paper you print off or photocopy off. And then you just read the word, they spell it. And then they have a sentence they have to dictate as well. And in the sentence that you dictate to them, you're supposed to say it 3 times. They don't have a pencil in their hand while you say it. Then they can write it, and that's it. Like you don't say it anymore. And there's always 2 or 3 spelling words in it, and there's always a review word from last week. So yeah, I am enjoying it. It does take a lot of time, but like I said before, I feel like it is producing good fruit. So we will keep using it. I do like it. That is it for that little chunk. Moving on to math. We're doing surprise, surprise, math with confidence, grade 4. This is just like past years. Last year I just implemented a little bit different as far as structuring our day or scheduling. So what we do is I will teach the lesson during our lunchtime. So for example, the way she has this broken up is all of her activities that you do together have the 2 little people right there. And so we will do, like from the teacher guide, I will read through it, we will do that. And then the practice pages where you practice what you learned / reviewed from past weeks, they have the little, just 1 person on it. They will do that in the morning while I'm making breakfast. And what I like about it is that they're having to like wait, digest the information that they learned the day before, and then I can quickly reteach if I need to during that day's lesson. So that's been great. Other things that I've been working on with them, we do not have our multiplication facts memorized. And so we've been doing wrap-ups, the little like key looking things that you wrap them with string to match the equation to the product, or, doing division. You can do it that way too. And then we also have flashcard we've been doing every day. And then each lesson, there's also a review that you do. Like for example, this one right here said, I can find the front of the unit here, the lesson. Memory work. How many feet equal 1 mile? And that's literally all it is. And those pages that were in the back that I mentioned at the beginning, they were in the back of the boys' planners. That's where you get all this information from. So they actually could study these Black Line Masters back here and get the same information. We just been reviewing it organically, but still love it. It's great. The only thing that I've been having hiccups with are just the math facts, and we will get those down. That is our job, and we will do it. But the math, there's a booklet and there's a B booklet. A is like the first half and B is the second half. We still use all of our supplies that I've accrued over the years. Someone graciously purchased the boys a compass protractor set, so this will be new for us this year. But everything else will be the same that we've used in the past, so that's been nice. So it's very game-based, all that good stuff. Okay, we're almost there, y'all. All we have left are science, social studies, and geography and Latin. And these are probably my favorite parts. They're at the end of the day, with the exception of Latin, but they're my favorite that we do each day. Let me go ahead and do Latin, and then we'll do my favorite ones last. So Latin, we are doing this lovely. This is gonna be, the boys are back to you, see my hair in the background. But Latina Christiana, we're doing this for a second year. I'm being better about doing flashcards, more on it with that kind of thing. And then we're also doing drill work each week and really actually doing Latin every day as opposed to just doing it once a week like we did last time. So typically what that looks like is on Monday, we will review past week's words, and then I'm gonna lie to you. We watched the video, that's what it is. I was like, my brain just went gone. There's DVDs that you watch for each lesson, so we'll watch that together, but we don't do the workbook yet. Then on Tuesday, we'll review the words, and we also do a drill sheet. I'm sorry, we do a drill sheet on Monday too. And then on Tuesday, we will review the lesson, we will review the words, and then we do the workbook. And then we also do another drill sheet. And the drill sheet is literally just write down the word in English and in Latin. English and Latin, English, Latin, that's what it is. Then Wednesday and Thursday, we will do a different drill sheet, and it is if you need to conjugate any verbs or change the endings for if it's one person or two people, that kind of thing. And then on Wednesday, we review the audio tape that we have. She's talking and telling us the words, and we're repeating her. And then Thursday is when we actually get to do our quiz for that. And it's literally just, they write the words in Latin. It gives them the English word, and they write it in Latin. And then that's the quiz. So that's our week. That's what we do for Latin. And we just review them over and over and over again as often as we can. Okay, I'm helping him with the mouse here, but I'm gonna try and get this done real quick. Then, so science and social studies, we use journals. We use School Nests, Megan's journals on School Nest. Here, let me see the mouse. And I really do like her stuff a lot. And they're really great. They're made really well. And there you go. In the top right corner, just push the little rectangle and it'll make it big again. Do not push the X. I'll be right back. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, social studies and science, we're using Megan's School Nest journals. They're great. They're great quality. Love the way they feel. They, you could easily just use a composition notebook or a spiral. This year I kept going back and forth about what I wanted to do, and finally I just bought them. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna make it work. I'm really glad that we did that because I really do like them a lot. So I'll have to say, that's what we're using. For social studies, I'm doing a mixture of things. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we are doing basically America after nationhood. So like they just signed the Constitution, boom, here we go. And it's all expansion, moving west, you know, all that good stuff. And then we're gonna end around the 1850s. So I wanna say it's like after Andrew Jackson. Is it Martin Van Buren? Don't come for me. But something else that we're memorizing this year is we're memorizing all the presidents. The boys have them down way better than I do. I'll get there. But yeah, we're memorizing those too. So anyway, we are doing Tuttle Twins. This is their third volume. This one just came out this fall. We did volume 1 and 2 last year together very quickly. What I like about Tuttle Twins is it comes with an audio so you can listen to it as you're reading it. It also comes with a workbook that you can print off from, which is great. This year I chose to spread it out over the year rather than doing, you know, a book a semester, which has been great. It's been more enjoyable for me. We're not spending 45 minutes just reading it every day. We're able to break up into each little section of the chapter, which has been really great. And the way I've broken it up, so I'm doing this for the most part, and then I have some ancillary things we're doing too. But for example, this term, we would do a chapter a week. And so each day we would read a different section of the chapter. And I would pick an activity from that online workbook that you get with it too. And the boys would journal about that. So whatever the activity was or whatever it is we read, they would journal about that day. So this is their history notebook. And the pages look like this. So on the left side, I don't know if you can even see that, they're gridded with a blank spot up here. On the right side, they're lined and with a blank spot. The idea is that you can use the left side for maps, the right side you can use for writing. So far, we've been using it as the left side is more of like a scrapbook or any worksheets I want to put in there. It's more of a scrapbook type thing. And the right side is their actual journal entry. And as far as their journal goes, this is their little helpful journal checklist that they look at before they turn in their journal, but it's based off of a rubric. Again, a rubric that is inside the front of their journal. I know you can't read that, but I'm looking for 3 things. A written summary, so that their written part. It needs to have 3 to 5 sentences, and it clearly expresses what it is we learned about that day, using vocabulary, all that kind of stuff. There's a picture and illustration, and it has labels and details and things that match what they wrote. And then I'm also looking for effort. That is it clean? Did they do good handwriting? Is the spelling done well? Like, you know, those vocabulary terms, are they spelled correctly? That kind of stuff. And that's how I'm grading them. But let me give you an example of one here, or a couple of them. Let me see. Yeah, this is from the very beginning of the year. So these ones I wasn't grading yet because I hadn't had the rubric, so that's why I'm going to show you this one. But we're talking about William Bradford and how he gave. Oh yeah, that is yeah. But anyway, when they first came over, everybody was supposed to be like doing their part to feed themselves, and they weren't. And so then he changed it to where everybody got their own lot of land, and then you were able to take care of your own family. And then anything else you had extra you could trade or sell that would better your family. And of course, when you did that, people chose to actually be a part of their own family rather than everybody else. So we wrote about that. We read about it and then we wrote about it. So there you can see maybe, sorry y'all, this is like not one to focus, but he wrote a few sentences and then drew a picture. Once I created the rubric, then they got more detailed. And like sometimes we will add whatever it is that we're like, if we use a map or something, we'll just tape it to the top. And again, I do their scores on sticky notes so that it doesn't mess up their work. But here you go, we're talking about the Barbary pirates. So we did a map activity and then they wrote about that down here. And I will also, have I done it in this book yet? I don't think I have. We've done some activities too. I guess more so in the science because I'm not seeing it in here, but I will glue pictures from their activities on the left side too. Yeah, that's history. So we've been doing Tuttle Twins with that. And then next term, we will take a break in Tuttle Twins. And then we're using these 2 resources. It's Evan Moore's History Pockets Moving West, and then American History Series, Westward Expansion and Migration. I found this in a bin somewhere. And then we're also going to be using this resource, Westward Expansion's Reading Comprehension. I got this off of Amazon. And I'm just piecemealing this as well as I'll try to link her below. I think it was called Rabbit Trails. I'm sorry if I messed that up. But I purchased her, basically, it's not really a curriculum, it's more of like a framework. But she included like resources as far as stories and things you could read for each different section of, Westward Expansion. And so I pulled from that too. So this is kind of like a conglomeration of things I just pulled. But we will be utilizing activities from these, and then we'll also be doing read-alouds. They're more like picture book style read-alouds, but still have good information in them. And they'll still be journaling. Like we're still gonna be using the journal, but it's just a different framework for it. But we might use this to, let me try to find an example. I honestly didn't do a whole lot of things from this Evan Moore one. I appreciate the idea behind it, but again, we just don't have the time to do all of it. Oh, here you go. Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone, Frontiersman. Liam's been reading with Daniel Boone, but later in the year, we're actually going to be revisiting him and his role in Expansion of the West. And so we'll be creating a caricature of him and then doing something where we're going to be writing about him as well. So different activities are in this one. This Westward Expansion booklet is more so comprehension style. You like read and then you do answer questions. So these will be peppered in. And then these I really like. These are fun. These are kind of similar in that it's a passage that they read. And then there's 2 activities, I think. I can't turn the page. Yeah, but they're like puzzle based. So it's true or false, but you're creating some sort of like glyph or something. And there's another puzzle over here. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing for history. If you're interested in more about that, let me know, and I can go deeper into how I plan that, because it's a hot mess, but it's gonna be good. I know it is. And then we're really enjoying history. So, and then with our trips we have coming up, I think it's gonna really help solidify everything we've been learning, and I can't wait to share that more with you guys too, because it's been so exciting. And then we're doing geography as well. Another one of Megan's notebooks. This one, there is a page for every state. So there's Iowa, and you can't see it, but there's 5 rectangles on the left page, and the page after that is just blank gridded paper. So what we've been doing, let's see, let me get one we've actually finished. So it's morphed, as all things do, but what we do is on Monday, we read from this guy right here, The 50 States, such a good book. We read through that state's, by the 2 pages for that state, and then they will go ahead and they'll fill out the statehood for the state, its motto and nickname, and they could do interesting facts if they wanted to, but we normally wait for that. And then we Google the current population, and then they'll fill that in over here. On Tuesday, we watch these old videos about the states, and then we complete the symbols. They pick out, I found like these coloring pages, and they pick out 4 symbols. Yeah, 4. And they color them and they add them to that symbol section. And then one day we do the map. And so we will take, each of the boys have an atlas that they're using for our road trips, or we'll be using for our road trips. And so we'll pull this guy out and we'll try to find important places on the map, as well as using this 50 states one, because there's some things in there too. And we'll complete the map. There you go. This is the only one we've done the map for. So what does that tell you? We'll get there. And then the last days, we go through the state's visitor guides online, and I let them pick out things they think are interesting. And they just glue them here inside their pages. And the idea is that this will kind of like, they'll add to it as we visit places. It's not meant to be a done thing. So anyway, that's geography. And we do that every day toward the end of the day. Okay. My kid just scared me, but I'm good. And then finally, science. We have this lovely science notebook, and we are using master books for science. Here you go. Heaven and Earth. It was written to where there's 3 sections in here. This one has weather and water, universe, and planet Earth. You're supposed to do them all, I think, in a year or maybe a semester, but I kind of do whatever I want. So that's what I'm doing. And at first we are doing the planet Earth one. So and then I think in the spring we're doing animals, if I remember right. And actually, y'all, I've changed my mind so many times on these things that, so yeah, we're doing, after planet Earth, we're going to be doing human body. And then at the end of the year, we're gonna do animals. So we're actually doing 3, basically kind of doing a book, but I picked which 3 activities or, you know, areas that I wanted to do. Okay, so what we do is we read through the really quick, short chapters. Are very, very quick. It's like that one right there. It's already over. You got 3 pages. We go over the vocabulary words and what the pictures are and just read it together out loud. Normally we take turns. And then anything that has this little like beaker on it, that's what the boys are supposed to do. And like for their age group. And so it's typically an experiment or something hands-on that kind of just makes whatever it is you learned about that day become more concrete. So like this one, for example, it's about volcanoes. So what are you going to do? You're going to make a model of a volcano. So that will be what we do that day. There's also questions that we talk about at the end. And all of these things, they will pull out that we learn about and talk about. They'll pull that out into their notebook. And again, it's the same rubric as the social studies one, the history one. This is their helper. They check it to make sure before they turn it in that everything is good to go. Let me remove this guy right here. So recently we've been talking about rocks. So we talked about igneous rocks. So here we have his drawing that had to do what we talked about. And then he wrote about the igneous rocks and where they come from. And then this was actually from the day prior. We did this after reading about types of rocks, and I just taped it inside of here. And then I grade their rubrics, or I grade these based on that rubric. But this is, like I was saying before, I will add pictures. So like on this one, remove that sticky note there. We made a glacier outside. And so we took pictures of that as well and stuck them in there. So it's meant to be basically just showing what they're learning and then also documenting just life, things that we're doing. And like we actually need to finish one today. We are making crystals, so we got to do that before we leave for our trip. Yeah, that is that. And this also has quizzes. They're built into it. I'm thinking maybe we aren't supposed to do them because the last time we've only done one of them so far, and there was a question on there. The boys were like, we didn't ever talk about that. And sure enough, we hadn't. And when I look back at it, it was something for the older kids to do. So anyway, we're using it for what they are. And it's been good. They've enjoyed it. They really, really like the read alouds every day. And then like this, there's also a teacher's guide, but it will have, you know, any handouts you need to photocopy. It has quizzes. The way that they have it set up is each day you're supposed to print off this thing, and the questions on here are the same questions you talk about when you read. And so to me, it's kind of counterproductive at that point. So we just talk about it, and then they journal what it is that they want to remember from that day. And I do encourage them. I meant to mention this during the history. I have these little whiteboards that I bought this year. We have a whiteboard. That's a whole other story. It's downstairs. We're upstairs right now. So we'll write down key vocab, or I'll just pinpoint it on the actual assigned reading. But we'll write down vocab words, phrases, things that happened, and then this will be out for them to use while they're writing for right now. Which eventually it won't be, but for now that is a good way to kind of scaffold their writing. But yeah, that's science. And I think that is it. I'm sure as soon as I finish this, I will remember something else. But that is our year. And this video is entirely too long. I don't know how many times I end up stopping it, so I apologize for that. But hopefully it was helpful for you and that you learned something from it and that it's a blessing to you in some way. What are you using this year? Anything new? Anything that you just love, that you've used over and over again, that you just can't stop talking about? I want to hear about it. And share with me how you're doing. Talk to y'all later. Bye.